Hey guys, this is Ben, Roused Hour Saves Us, and I would like to read something to you. It'll just take a moment, so bear with me. It is a discriminatory practice for a person or a group of persons acting in concert to communicate telephonically or to cause to be so communicated, repeatedly, in whole or in part, by means of the facilities of a telecommunication undertaking within the legislative authority of Parliament, any matter that is likely to expose a person or persons to hatred or contempt by reason of the fact that that person or those persons are identifiable on the basis of a prohibited ground of discrimination. What I just read to you was Article 13.1 of Canada's Human Rights Act. The full text of the article will be posted in this description, as well as a link to the entire Act. It was originally enacted with the Heritage Front in mind. See, the Heritage Front was a neo-Nazi group, and what they were doing was they were setting up telephone hotlines where someone could call in and get various racist propaganda pieces, as well as information such as the home phone numbers of rabbis, so that they could call and harass these people. And so this act was put in place. Since then, however, the internet has become a very popular form of communication, as I'm sure you are aware. And the internet falls under this act. Anyone who posts any message on the internet, whether or not it was intended to offend or not, if it is considered offensive by someone who is part of any protected group, they can bring the person who authored that message to court. Now, the plaintiff doesn't have to pay anything, but the defendant does have to pay their own non-refundable legal fees. When you are convicted, you can be fined a fairly large sum of money just for posting something on the internet. Originally, the only people that were really affected by this were racists posting on racist message boards. But since then, people have been bringing complaints forward for just about any internet site. There are some topics that just can't be discussed without offending people. Topics like religion, like racism, like sexism, like same-sex unions and gay marriage, like immigration. But under Article 13.1 of the Canadian Human Rights Act, we can't discuss these things unless we avoid offending people, which we just can't do. It's not possible. So this is a very, very egregious violation of our freedom of speech and of freedom of the press, because any newspaper or magazine that has a website is now subject to this act. You may be aware of the case of Mark Steyn in Maclean's magazine. Maclean's published an excerpt of one of Mark's books, and it was a little bit critical of Islam. The link to the article will be in this description here. He has been brought to court, as has Maclean's, for this article by some Muslim students. This is something that, if you were a little bit more conspiracy-minded, could signal the beginning of a police state. And it's frankly ridiculous for a secular democracy to have such limits on free speech. So, what can we do about it? Liberal MP Keith Martin has put forward a motion in the House of Commons to scrap this article. Now, it hasn't been voted on, and there aren't enough members supporting it to get it passed. But if we contact our MPs, and we get our friends to do the same, and we pass this around, we might be able to make a difference. Give this video to all of your friends, and if you have a good amount of subscribers, make a video of your own, or re-upload this one. If you do that, please give credit where it's due, and keep the description intact, because it has some important information in it. You can also join the Facebook group, which is again in the description, for any updates when they occur. we can do this. And if you love free speech as much as I do, you will do this. Thank you for your time.